it's a good question. Just as one would say, why do we have overpopulation today? So yeah, the abstract is we need to study, I may say. Yes, it's a complex topic, knowing that there's a Christian view, there's the world view, there's also other religious sectors that have got their own views. Number one thing that is causing infidelity is communication. Everything is built on communication. That's number one. So communication varies. When you're talking to a woman, they've got a language they understand. We are taught that women are maybe 10 times ahead of us in terms of being conclusive in communication. Then men tend to be slower. So how I may construct words and put them across, the interpretation by the recipient, which is the woman in this case, will be different. So number one is communication. So communication, what are you communicating? What are you saying to this person? So with the coming in of technology and where we are now, one would think to say maybe technology is also causing infidelity to have risen. See, most of what happens to us, we create scenarios in our minds. It's a psychological effect, yes. I always say, if you want to know a person, just by hearing how they are speaking, you will know the type of friends they hang around. You will know in the last 10 minutes where they've been. It's like a post-mortem. So psychologically, you are trying to process. No, everyone is an intellectual. The only difference is that we tend to use school to grade the intellect. Yes. Just because somebody doesn't have a grade 12 or they don't have a what, that doesn't make them less of a thinker. No. How do you think these people, the Nikola Teslas, were able to make and deduce all these inventions that we are seeing today, such as electricity and all these things? It's because these were enthusiasts. So in intellect, there are levels. So even the wife also, she's an intellect at some point. So most of the times we tend to look down on each other in terms of knowledge and sharing, and most of it, I think I would say we need to learn. We keep learning each other. Every day we wake up, we are different people. So number one is communication. Number two, the same, intellect. You cannot undermine the intelligence of the person that you proposed. Remember, yes, we make love starting from the mind. They say you prepare a woman maybe from 06 hours. She knows that the beans will be ready by evening. Yes, but for the men, it's just touch and go. It's done. So that yeah, so that one you understand. So a man has got his needs. Number one on the list is respect. Number two is food. Number three is sex. But a woman is wired differently. So a woman is wired with these cycles that she undergoes. You find that she can withhold certain judgment in terms of love making and all these things. So they can survive that. So you find that the woman tells you, no, I'm feeling under the weather. Then what comes in your mind, you conclude that, I have to switch on one or two switches here and there. But that's not what she's saying. It's not a tricky one per se. I would say women always attach emotions to what they do, and because they can stick around longer and wait for you to come around, and when you don't come around, then they put that particular reason. But there are also those that just don't have reasons for doing what they're doing. Maybe for some it's an obsession of material acquisitions that people have. You find that maybe because she's lived in poverty for some time, the narrative is maybe she's underqualified or she doesn't have what, and the only thing that she can use to get to point B is maybe find an attachment. And for men, remember, men can separate love and the cheating part. Men can go and not fall in love. But for women, when they go and do what they do, they are gone for good. So does that answer the question? Okay, so every day we wake up, there are about 4 E's that we have in front of us. The first one is experience. The second one is expressions. The third one is expectation. So I'll end on the 3. Our experiences create room for expressions. We express ourselves based on where we've been. then this conflicts with our expectations. So the women also, they've got their experiences, they've got their expressions, they've got their expectations. These three, they form a triangle: God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So even in the marriage sector, it's expressions, expectations, experiences. Once these start conflicting, then you start drifting in the relationship. There's no love in existence. I didn't expect that. Yeah, so that separation comes in because of the three things that we have highlighted here: expectations, experiences, expressions. So you come home and then you find that this person is maybe in a zone where they've got their expectations quite alright, but they're not communicating effectively that this is what I expect to see or what I expect to feel. Then you are in a zone where, because you had a rational experience in the morning, so when you come back, the resolve of a man is that the woman is supposed to say sorry. And then you sit in the chair and then this woman is not saying sorry. That day goes. The more these things pile, the longer we find that we are drifting apart. And it's just quite complex, because this book is actually written out of quite a number of issues. So it is something that can be used if it could be introduced in the educational system, because we are training people and we are offloading them every year. There are people that are graduating. They are becoming part and parcel of our society. How do we incorporate them in the systems? Well, I'm also a product of that very education. So the very education that we receive to some extent is the very education that limits our inclusion. In the Enigma of Love, I'm saying your life is your business. When your love language is different from the ordinary, this very difference can cause misunderstanding in your relationship. Personal mastery in any given field is essential. Achievement is what people call luck. The Creator fashioned us with a mind. The more people like you, the more they will be open to sit under your affluence or your influence. This work is a testimony to the world and confirms the realities that challenge us in life. The many battles that we wake up to, some in the form of social differences, injustices, pandemics, but the most underrated of them all is the four-letter word: love. Excellent performance has its rewards. That is the reward of performance. How do we reward performance in love? By taking somebody out. For the women, these are the most cardinal things. Once you forget these, so how do we interpret love in our African culture? So love in our African culture is mitigated or leveraged by respect. For the man and the man's family, it's about respect. For the woman, it's about provision. Maybe to just add this, on a given day, how do you break down your hours? Because 7 hours you're at work. So 17 you knock off, maybe 18. Yeah, what time do you reach home? Because success has it that the 1 hour that you have away from your usual spot is the time that can cause you to be successful in life. Now, out of the 1 hour, we are talking of 2 hours is out in African time. So by 19 you are home. Then she's also home. Maybe if she works, you probably don't even greet each other. Her 30 minutes, 1 hour she's cooking. Your 30 minutes, 1 hour you're watching news, Prime TV, or listening to Joy FM. After 30 minutes, some they bath, some they don't bath, they just go and sleep. Then voila, you transition into the conference room now. In the conference room, you've got maybe 2 minutes or 30 minutes that you can probably stay awake. And women want you to be awake because they want to talk to you. Women are always talking. They are designed to speak. In that time, as she's speaking to you, fast forward, you're snoring. That now leads to the guy outside poaching for a spot, and this guy can make sure that he stays awake. Why? Because he's trying to just feed up a spot. And when that is covered, that's infidelity. So most of the time we are admiring the people that we linger around with, that we are talking to. They can either contact you directly or email Peter W. Watema at Gmail. Or better still, they can get the book from Amazon. We are yet to make copies for the Zambian market. We and the team are going to work on that for the Zambian people. Always a pleasure working with Joy FM.